Welcome to the Highlights from Ukraine podcast, your daily audio summary of the latest news reported in the Ukrainian media. Recently, we've launched our own YouTube channel. From now on, your friends who don't have podcast apps will be able to listen to the highlights from Ukraine on YouTube. Link to our YouTube channel will be in the description below. Please share it with your friends and family as well as on social media. Thank you. My name is Artem, and here is the news. 160 days less the Russian invasion of Ukraine. The Supreme Court of Russia recognized Ukrainian regiment Azov as a terrorist organization and banned its activities in Russia, reports BBC News Ukraine. Russia calls the regiment neo-Nazi and accuses its members of war crimes. According to Russian legislation, members of an organization recognized by the court as terrorists are subject to criminal liability. The organizers and commanders are punished by imprisonment for 15 to 20 years, ordinary participants 5 to 10. Earlier, the Russian media reported that more than 1,000 soldiers who surrendered in Mariupol were transferred to Russia for investigative actions. In May, as a result of the negotiations, more than 2,000 Ukrainian defenders of Azovstal steel plant in Mariupol, including fighters from the Azov regiment, surrendered to the Russians. Their fate remains unknown. The Azov regiment released a statement that after the public execution of Azov prisoners of war in Olenivka, Russia is looking for new reasons and explanations for its war crimes. The regiment called on the U.S. State Department and the authorized agencies of other countries to recognize Russia as a terrorist state. The U.S. announced a new package of security assistance for Ukraine worth $550 million, reports NVUA. According to the media, the package includes more ammunition for the HIMARS rocket and regular artillery systems. Foreign Minister Dmytro Kuleba thanked the US for this decision, saying that it stands with Ukraine as we defend our freedom against Russia's barbaric war of aggression, reports Interfax Ukraine. Volodymyr Zelensky thanked the US for support and said that the word HIMARS has become almost synonymous with the word justice for Ukrainians. He added that Ukrainian defenders still cannot completely break the advantage of the Russian army in artillery and in manpower, and this is very tangible in the battles, especially in Donbas. The US State Department has also announced that it will impose visa restrictions to 893 Russian officials, reports Podrobytsi. The list includes members of the Federation Council and military commandment. The full spectrum of sanctions is imposed on 31 more foreign government officials who have acted to support Russia's annexation of the Crimea region of Ukraine. The first grain ship from Ukraine reached the waters of Turkey, reports European Pravda. Now the Razoni vessel, which sails under the flag of Sierra Leone, is to be inspected by a joint inspection team which includes Russian and Ukrainian officials. The International Coordination Center in Istanbul is responsible for the inspection. The vessel is heading to the port of Tripoli in Lebanon with 26,000 tons of Ukrainian corn on board. In his evening video address, President of Ukraine Volodymyr Zelensky said that Ukraine's goal in grain export now is to have regularity, so that when one ship leaves the port, there are other ships as well, both those loading and those approaching the port. Zelensky pointed out that export this year is needed so that Ukrainian farmers have sufficient resources for next year's sowing. Thus, this is a matter of food security for Ukraine as well. The president pointed out that Russia provoked the food crisis in order to use the supply of wheat, corn, sunflower oil as a weapon, just as it is already doing with gas and crude oil. Russia creates a deficit, instigates the increase in prices, and when this provokes social unrest, it demands political concessions. It should not work with food, stressed Zelensky. He also addressed fakes spread by the Russian media that Western partners are forcing Ukraine to export grain to pay for the military help. The president said that every hryvnia earned by Ukrainian agricultural workers and all the restored international ties of Ukraine will contribute to the strengthening of the country. The General Staff of Ukraine informs that the Russian forces continue artillery and missile strikes at civilian objects in Ukraine, reports Grunt Media. In the Kharkiv direction, the enemy made an advance in the areas of Kochubeyivka-Dementivka, were repulsed and retreated. In the Donetsk region, the Russian troops are concentrating their main efforts on the Bakhmut direction, where active fighting continues. According to the Southern Command of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, Russia is creating a strike group in the Kherson region to conduct a counteroffensive in the direction of the city of Kryvyi Rih, reports Militarny. Our Patreon supporters get access to a cool new series on wartime life in Ukraine. To join the club, follow the link in the description below. We call on you to demand from governments of your countries to impose the toughest sanctions possible on Russia and its citizens to stop their invasion of Ukraine. Thank you.